All right. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome back. A true welcome back episode of NFT Live. We took a break last week to touch some grass. Gifted still in Toronto. I am back home where I be. I'm not trying to dox my location to you, D-Gens, just yet. But we are having ourselves a good time. We're going to talk a lot of things happened in the NFT space. Maybe we're dead. Maybe we're not. The jury's still out apparently. But I'm glad to be sitting here back with my main man Gifted. We got a lot of announcements. We got special announcements about events. We've got a lot of other stories to get to, including Goblin Town just like hit us with an interesting tweet here as we went live. So I'm excited to cover the entire space with you, my man. How are you doing?
Am I unmuted?
Truth.
We take 1 week off and it's like we forget how it works. So I'm happy to be back. I need to find my AirPods at some point, but we got the headphones. You sound great. You look great. You look like you got a tan. You look great. Whoever you are out there watching, you look amazing today. You sound so good. No, I'm very happy to be back with you, sir. And yeah, he's got some dog problems also. I think the FedEx deliveries keep popping up while we're live.
Yeah, no issues. I just got to get my phone set up, guys. This is the situation. We are going to be at Consensus in Austin at the end of this month. I want to pull this up so you guys know exactly what is going down here at the Web3 Lounge. This is the third. Is this the third or fourth event for the Web3 Lounge at this point? Or I know you had the Nifty Castle piece, but I think this is like starting to get on a roll here. I think we've hit our stride here with the Web3 Lounge.
Oh, it's exciting. This is the third official Web3 Lounge event that we've done at these different conferences. The first ever was a 4-day event at the last NFT NYC. Then, of course, we did Web3 Lounge Denver, Web3 Denver, 5-day Web3 Lounge at the Marijuana Mansion. And as if that wasn't enough, we got to now go to Austin, or ATX as the locals call it. And yeah, man, this is going to be very exciting. It's at a bad place called Highbrow Lowbrow, which apparently is like a private club.
So I'm looking at it here. Obviously, this is going to be on Wednesday, April 26th. So the conference is all week essentially. We are hosting the 1-day event. From a logistics standpoint, the 1-day event GIF has to feel great. Honestly, like the 1-day events are a little easier to put on.
Yeah, it's definitely a different thing from trying to pull off a 4 or 5-day event like we've been doing. So this is the first time we're doing a one-off. And yes, it does feel good to only have to coordinate a 1-day event, but it's going to be dope. And this spot, again, this really cool location, Highbrow Lowbrow, is right next to the main conference area. So this is going to be very exciting. We'll be doing some fireside chats. We've got some amazing communities. We're going to have some NFT art galleries, some drinks, some food, the vibes, the music. Y'all know what it is. We bring the culture to Web3 and the fun, and always pull together some of the coolest communities and people. So you can RSVP now. Let's drop that link. RSVP now. Let your friends know. Anybody in Austin, even if you got cool artist friends that might be worth showcasing or being part of the NFT gallery, that's cool too. So let us know, but definitely RSVP and let your friends know.
Squash, we see you. Hash Rhymes is in the house. Llama, Nox Darkness, Zombie Miner. Thank you guys for showing up early. We're experimenting without the timer here, so it's a different aspect of like people don't know essentially. Hey, we're live. It's not going to be up on their feed till we actually go live. So we're waiting for people to trickle in here, but we also want to get some more information out. Right now, I think we have like 120 RSVPs, 130 RSVPs. I don't even know how.
Something like that. I think it's.
I don't even know how many people this event space holds. I mean, it's a dope location, inside, outside. The inside definitely has a marijuana mansion type of vibe with different rooms and things like that. But yeah. Here, so we got some partners as well. ATX Style is going to be working closely with us. Nifty Kit is going to be there. Doge Pound is basically a part of the event. They're doing a yappy hour. Shout out to you guys for the pun. But yeah, man, I'm excited. We'll both be there.
Oh, that's actually a fun part of it. So the Yappy Hour is something that we've never done at one of our events. We're always trying new things. So Doge Pound is actually bringing puppies. So there's a whole big outside area. There's an inside area. There's like a big tent where we'll be doing some talks and some really interesting fireside chats. but there is actually going to be in the outside area some puppy dogs, like a literal yappy hour with puppies. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a dope follow-up. I mean, I feel like we really hit the ground running with the Denver event. I thought that was really extremely successful. So being able to take that to different cities, and in Phil, we have to give a huge shout out to Phil, who's doing a ton of work behind the scenes on this. But otherwise, we will get today's episode started. So just to show you guys the episode tweet, we appreciate any support. Obviously on any of the content that we are putting out, that is going to be Twitter. But let's find the handy dandy post here. I'm going to copy it, put it in the chat. If you guys can spread the word on what we've got going on here at NFT Live, we're doing these 1 p.m. every single day. I love to say every single day, and then I realize we don't do it on Fridays, and it's like it hits me every time. So we got some announcements here that are potentially going to fill up that Friday portion as well. Fun Uncle had a CBDC episode that I was able to catch, so shout out to him for putting out content on the Web3 network here. So yeah, hit up that tweet here. We're going to be talking NFTs are dead again. Pixelmon and Muppet. You got to say it like Muppets if you had a lisp. And then CSGO skins for 400,000. A lot more to touch on a Monday episode. I'm just kind of getting my bearings here back in the Web3 space after being gone a week. So bear with us both, if you can.
Yeah, 1 week out is about 7 to 8 crypto years out of the space. So this guy's got a lot to catch up on.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I'm going to catch up on my favorite project to start. You guys ready for this? Favorite project. MetaMask. You guys are kicking ass, man. Actually, you have been kicking ass. We've been talking a little bit of shit to MetaMask, and they've been putting out the NFT features. Like, that was a really cool update, I think. They had some security updates, but then they got hit with a third-party hack that could affect 7,000 users. So this post from NFT Evening says MetaMask announced over 7,000 users are at risk due to a recent hack. Consensus, the parent company of the widely used crypto wallet, broke the news in an April 4th blog post. What do we know? Well, it looks like between August 1st and February 10th, private information of people who supported support tickets or provided support tickets are going to be here exposed. So the hacker gained unauthorized access to a third-party computer system used to process customer service issues. So it looks like maybe one of their customer service agents potentially got hacked into, and that's where the breach occurred. So if you filed a support ticket between those times, you should be wary here.
You love to start these shows with like the most negative headlines. That's what I've been noticing with Q. He comes out of the gate with just the fun stuff up front. He's business in front and party in the back, like a good mullet should be. Yeah, this is obviously not a great headline. I'm curious, does this mean that their seed phrases were exposed? Is that what this means?
If you put it in your support ticket, that could potentially, because that wouldn't come through.
You wouldn't put a seed phrase in a support ticket.
People are dumb. People are dumb.
Who's putting a seed phrase in a support ticket?
I don't know.
So hopefully at least this means, yeah, your seed phrases aren't hacked, but
no, I doubt it. It's probably just like personal information that you would have added in that. But I think, anyways, I don't file support tickets with MetaMask. I just flame them consistently,
relentlessly.
If you want more good news here, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission said today we charged crypto asset trading platform Bittrex and its co-founder and former CEO William Shihara for operating an unregistered national securities exchange broker and clearing agency. We also charged Bittrex foreign affiliate, Bittrex Global, for failing to register as a national securities exchange in connection with its operation of a single shared order book along with Bittrex. Positive news here on the regulation front. And if you can tell, I'm being sarcastic as shit. In a masterful move here, and we talk about it all the time, the SEC basically leaves the regulation area gray and therefore can enforce any type of rules whatsoever. And there were multiple posts from Gensler as well talking about how we're protecting the investors. This is why crypto is dangerous. And yada, yada, yada. We got the spiel. So,
meanwhile, all of their regulated banks keep going under. Anyway.
Tell them, GIF. Tell them, GIF. But So Bittrex, for those of you that aren't, familiar with it, Bittrex was a huge platform in like 16, 15. It was one of, I think, literally the biggest exchange before Coinbase overtook it with the most volume. So this is, again, this kind of shows the I don't want to say laziness, but the lack of speed from the SEC. You know what I mean? Like Bittrex is not the exchange of today that it was, 15 or not 15, 8 years ago. And they're just getting to Bittrex now. So it definitely shows a little bit of like how the SEC operates in terms of timeline. But I mean, just not a good piece of news to get us started here on the week.
Yeah. Well, what kind of speed are you expecting from our government, right? The average age of our Senate is like 78 years old, or maybe 69 was the right number to throw in there. But yeah, if you're expecting a spry, responsive, government that can take on complicated technological policy making decisions and regulation needs, yeah, we're fucked. So
Yeah, big shout out to Flub, who's in the house here. OVOT Discord Junkie saying OVOT. He's also saying new sound GIF. It looks like we're picking up maybe the wider audio from your room. I'm not sure.
yeah, I mean, I am
There
in
it
a
is.
I'm in a different room,
look at
different
that.
space. It is actually a different mic than what I usually use. So, shout out to you for being very observant. A little bit of an audio file over there, picking it
Yeah.
up, picking up the differences. Is it too much feedback just
No,
having it
this
on the desk? Should I hold it like this the whole
you
time to them?
you put it a little bit closer between where it was and where it is now. Do
I,
not
I,
kiss it.
I can be like one of those the European
Ryan
football
Carson.
announcers. Yeah, well they're always like holding the mic just like this because there's loud cheering right around.
All right, Discord Junkie, we appreciate the comment there. We'll get those audio issues worked out for you. Bittrex is the first exchange I used back in 2017. Squashman coming through with that. Yeah, they were huge. They were absolutely gigantic. I forgot what took them down initially. I think it was like a custodial issue that they had to deal with, and everyone kind of fled to Coinbase. But yeah, anyways, next piece of quick news that we're gonna hit is from Gifted himself. I like Goblin Town more for this. Looks like this is the move Goblin Town needs to be making right now, which is basically fudding or faux fudding their entire project. What's going on with Goblin Town changing its metadata as well as kind of like putting out all of these fuck everything that apparently Web3 is supposed to be about?
Yeah, hopefully this audio situation is better. I'm just going to keep it on my lap since I don't have a full arm
perfect.
from the desk. It's perfect. Here we go. We're here. We're doing it. We're doing it live like we do, optimizing, improving as we go along. Yeah, this was totally my news story. I made this happen. No, we talked about it on GM Web3 and then I posted about it. It does make me like them a little bit better because it feels very much on brand for Goblin Town to be, approaching this situation the way that they are, which is with heavy sarcasm, just absolutely trolling all of the traders that are focused on trying to race to the bottom, race to zero, cut out the creators, the project founders, the artists who rely on these royalties to try and run a business or help them build a business or just survive. So yeah, what they've decided to do is actually not totally dissimilar from what Yuga did with their other deeds recently, which is basically burn their original collection and then have like a remint or distribute a new NFT with an updated contract that does enforce royalties, or it finds a way to, stop Blur and OpenSea or whatever marketplaces that they can protect against from cutting out their royalties. So, recently other deeds just had this whole process, obviously very different tacts, right? Like the Yuga tact was to create a whole narrative element and add in more dynamics to it, but also, burn and create new NFTs, but do it in like a way that was on brand to them and their story. And this, I guess, is on brand to Goblin Town, which is not just a big middle finger, but like a big middle finger plus 4 or 5 smaller middle fingers as well. And it's pretty funny, but like the inscription on it is pretty clear. They're being very sarcastic. And I feel like this is directed at you, frankly, Q. I feel like if anybody should feel attacked, it's the people like you that try and apologize for the marketplaces who remove creator royalties. because I feel like that's who they're flicking off here.
I'm looking at this right now.
It says
supporting builders and creators. I don't know if we can say the F word this many times and stay on YouTube.
Okay.
But you guys can get the idea.
Well, for those who are listening or catching this on Spotify, because if you didn't know, all of our live content is syndicated out to audio platforms like Spotify, so you can always catch us over there. But for anybody who's listening to this, if you can pull it back up, I'll read it without saying all of the. It's a lot of fucks. It's a lot of fucks. So we'll say F royalties, F supporting builders and creatives. Flipping is the heart of what makes Web3 special. Honor the flipper, F the community, long live the slow rug. So that's what it says, and clearly they're being sarcastic. But yeah, they basically changed all the metadata and updated it to this image with this inscription on it and saying, don't buy now, wait for us to move to the new collection. And I believe they're just airdropping, the same artwork on a new contract to all the current holders.
Speaking of migrations or upgrades, we should probably do a follow up here pretty quickly here with the Degods and the Utes. It would be interesting to see. Like, I know that the initial like newness has faded, of course, in this space. It's 2 weeks and we have a new flavor of the week, but it'll be really cool to see Degods and Utes prospectively, specifically Utes probably. Like, I'm interested in the Polygon PFP marketplaces right now and what those look like in terms of volume. If Utes brings anything to that, that's what I want to see. We're obviously huge fans of Polygon. Prodigy is in the house. Good to see you, Prodigy. Nice to see you here on this Monday. We just got started, folks. So we pressed live about 10 to 15 minutes ago. We appreciate you guys showing up early. Please leave a like, as Gifted is pointing down there. Not a thumbs down. I don't even think you can anymore. So haha, can't do that. But you can leave a thumbs up. That would really help us today on the episode. The existential question we are asking today, Gifted, are NFTs dead? And I am being facetious with this. This is not Kotaku. Like, we're not going to be like, oh, yeah, NFTs are 100% dead. They're never coming back. What the hell? They're all a scam. But it has felt like over the last, I think, month, 2 months, as this bear market continues, that we're seeing more and more just angst, more and more. I don't want to call it FUD, but people are just getting tired, man. Like, it's like, how long can you hold out? How many supplies did you bring to get you to the next oasis, because it's a long journey in this wild, wild west. So really, where I'm feeling it, I think everybody's kind of feeling it. Like, it's Yacht Club got absolutely wrecked. When I was gone last week, Jimmy dumped his apes. Franklin had to do an emergency just liquidation event on all of his apes, try to get some liquidity. So it feels like a lot of even negative things are happening to Bored Ape Yacht Club and some of the larger blue chips. So that's the question. Are NFTs dead? No, of course not. But how do we navigate in this environment in one of the first, like you say, NFT bear markets? We're 12 months, 14 months in now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's the first NFT bear market, but I feel like it's the first NFT winter, at least. That's how I call it. Because, like, I think they're a little bit different, but maybe they're very similar, I guess. So I don't know how different, but for some reason I feel like because the NFT like the larger NFT movement and global market for NFTs didn't even really exist until late 2020, early 2021. And then it was just a big bull market. That, to me, this does feel like the first crypto winter, which we are now deep into it, to your point. Yeah, everybody's been feeling it. Even the apes are feeling it, right? So I don't know. Like, are NFTs dead? No, I don't know. Like, digital collectibles are definitely still alive. Yeah, but like, where does it go from here? Are we still on a really negative trajectory for a while? We were talking months ago, like, have we seen the bottom? And then I bought a fucking doodle at 5.5 ETH, and then it's very clearly we did not hit the bottom yet. Right? Doodle's floor is at 2.5 ETH, and literally it actually feels physically painful to say that. But it is. Marty was talking about his crypto punks and his squiggles are also feeling it, and that's scary, right? When the blue chips of the blue chips, you could argue Chromie Squiggles and CryptoPunks are, top 5 projects, both of them. And when all the top blue chips are also getting fudded, or people are bailing out of those, and you see big names like Franklin is bored and Jimmy.eth undercutting floors or selling, it's definitely got a lot of people shook. I think it's just where we're at, like I think Jimmy tweeted out that it was about taxes, and that's why he sold for his grill ape for a really low price. Franklin sounds like he got fucked over in some business deal. Again, I didn't look closely, so maybe we can actually pull up and look into that story a little bit more. But that was obviously a big storyline over the weekend of like, what the fuck's going on with Franklin? Franklin has been a fixture, in the Bored Ape ecosystem for quite a while. One of the biggest whales for Bored Apes, driving a lot of the volume over the last couple of years. And so to see him, selling off a whole bunch of them and trying to get out or whatever it is, even if it's temporarily, a lot of people are very concerned about that. It does, though, sound like it's related to other maybe mismanaged business or bad things happening with some other business partnerships, that like he lost a bunch of money. And so now he's scared, that like he's just got to get out when he can. Cause he's like, back to the original point, a lot of people are feeling it, a lot of people struggling. And again, I think it's important for us to also say, like, we're not immune. You know what I mean? Like we feel it. It's not easy for us, but we keep showing up because we believe in the tech, we believe in the culture. And maybe that's a good segue there, is that, like, you touched on the financialization of culture. Like, why is this not just a trend? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what is it about NFTs or digital art or crypto art or digital collectibles? What is it that has you continuing to show up, that has us, that has you, Nifty Q, has me, and any of the rest of you amazing people hanging out with us in the chat right now, continuing to show up day after day and invest your time, energy, resources, future into Web3, into this movement, into the digital renaissance in this space? And a lot of it has to do with the culture, that it is more than just a trend. It is technology, it is culture. And I don't know if you want to hit on that a little bit. I mean, we can go further down that, but I feel like if we're trying to find the silver lining, or like the raison d'etre, why does this shit still exist or interest us, given, where it is right now? Maybe that's a good place to talk.
Which spot exactly? I was looking up a video.
The culture, culture aspect of it. Dude. Just the reasons why you're still here, right? It's like, Q, why are you still showing up here? So why are you still doing this crazy shit?
Fuck, I don't know, man. I lost my mind a long time ago. But look, I'll give you 2 answers here. One of them is a tweet that the CS:GO skins was a really cool moment, while kind of dealing with this question of like, well, why are we still here? What is going to happen to NFTs? And you see large, huge sales happening in what is Web 2. And so you see there's interest from people around the world for these unique assets. Well, if you believe in, digital ownership, then there's the thesis. It doesn't have to go any farther. But let's listen to Yacht, because I always have to come back to Yacht. In times like this, he does it really well. He puts his thesis together very carefully and is very eloquent. So we'll listen to Yacht, and then we'll come out on the other side.
Both of the industry. Animoca itself focuses on what we consider crypto culture. Right? We think that's going to be the key driver, as it has for traditional economies, also in the world of Web3.
Yeah, as we were actually discussing a little bit earlier, gaming really is key in trying to push the whole industry to gain a global market. If we want to reach the masses, gaming is going to be the pinnacle of pushing that, really.
It is. And one other thing to also understand is that gaming is one of those digital first type of products. If you think about what gaming has put forward, the reason we have graphic cards like, from NVIDIA, or back then ATI, now AMD, or, Razer keyboards, or PlayStation, or Xbox, or Nintendo, actually, it wasn't the fact that the hardware came first. It's actually gaming came first initially, and they brought these industries to us. And this brings me to maybe the other point around why we're focusing so much, not just on gaming, but broadly crypto culture, which is represented with NFTs, right? Our perspective is, if you call Bitcoin a store of value, we consider NFTs as a store of culture. But if you consider culture was the second largest driver of economic activity in the US, and generally in most of the world. It represents, sort of, single digit percentages of the entire GDP. But if you look at, for instance, what culture does, it's not just what you pay an artist or a creator or a game developer or a designer. It's actually all the industries that spawns from it. Netflix, HBO, cinemas, Sony, Disney, Warner Brothers, like all the giant companies that you see around the world, all the activity, even Instagram and so on, they all emerge from one thing, which is culture. Our engagement, our time, our creativity is fed that way. And maybe they're not all sort of financified in the way that we think of it in terms of crypto, but it's how we all engage.
What do you think about my boy Yatsu there, bringing back the crypto thesis, NFT thesis?
Yeah, I mean, it's great because it's always awesome to hear different perspectives on, on things that you're involved with, right? It's like, it's not really a perspective that I usually hear articulated like that. And I think we talk about culture sometimes, and a lot of people understand that there is culture here, but I don't know if we talk about it enough. You know what I mean? Or what does that actually mean? How does that translate in a business sense to innovation and like new products? Because that's what he's kind of doing, right? He's drawing the line between culture and innovation, or culture and new businesses, et cetera. So yeah, that's really cool. I think, the other thing that I wanted to bring into this, like I want to give you a chance to like respond to any thoughts that you have. But the other things I shared in the chat here is something that we were talking about at the end of last week that I think would be cool to hit on briefly, which is the 7 key takeaways from A16Z Crypto's State of Crypto report, because it's remarkably bullish, right? Like if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's 7 key takeaways, and we can just read these off real quick. Because I actually read these on both Wednesday and Thursday's GM Web3 last week, because in these dark times when people are hurting, getting the positive analysis and updates about like the development is, I think, really, really helpful for a lot of people to kind of remind you like, oh yeah, I'm not that crazy. There is actually a real there. You know what I mean? It's like there's shit actually happening, and there's ways that you can measure and see that.
It's interesting because as the NFT winter continues, it almost feels like some episodes we need to have like a support group session. We need to be like, hey, why are we all here? And I haven't read this. I'm interested to see the takes, but what I think it's going to say is there's actually a lot of shit happening behind the scenes. There's not a lot of people that are interested maybe from the collector side, and a lot of normies rushing in like it is in a bull market. But from 2021 to now, the amount of shit that's being built, the amount of things that are being displayed, the amount of stories that are being told in the NFT space is 100-fold. Like Bored Ape was running on a website in a picture of a roadmap for a long time. Like that's it. And it was at whatever the floor was at the time until they started releasing these different things. Now the other side's out. Like that's just one specific example, but let's jump into the report because I'm interested in those details.
Well, yeah, and to be clear, this report isn't really about NFTs. It's about crypto market more broadly, but what it all comes together to say is that there's very strong fundamentals underlying all of this. So while NFTs is, one very risky offshoot derived from crypto, the crypto fundamentals and like Web3 fundamentals are remarkably strong. And so, NFTs aren't going anywhere is I think the takeaway that you can take away from this. So, all right, let's hit these real quick. So here are the key takeaways. There's 7 of them. And, let's just hit it. Cause again, we haven't hit it on YouTube yet. We did talk about this last week, but I think that these are actually really important points and the type of thing that you can kind of return to or point to when people are fudding your bags. So here you go. Blockchains have more active users and more ways to engage. Active addresses hit an all-time high last month at 15 million, doubling over the last 2 years as a growing variety of apps and services like on-chain games offer people new ways to engage. So what that means is that 2 years ago, there was only 7.5 million active addresses. And in just 2 years, there's now 15 million. So that's very, very fast growth. In terms of just active wallets. or active addresses. All right, next one. DeFi and NFT activity appear to be rising again as promising new uses and applications emerge. Like we talk about this a lot, right? It's like, what are the new utilities or use cases that are going to come up and then reinvigorate the NFT market? One of those things that we kind of saw in this, there was like a small bull run at the beginning of 2023 was around, what was it? What's the platform? Not Nifty Kit. The other Manifold. Manifold came out with these new ways for artists to create their burn mechanics and, mint, right? That was like a new sort of development. And all of a sudden you saw all of these new projects and a bunch of new collector interest. But all right, so DeFi and NFT activity appear to be rising again as promising new uses and applications emerge. After a frenetic speculative period and subsequent cooldown, more people seem to be buying NFTs in recent months. Meanwhile, on decentralized exchanges, more than $100 billion were traded just last month, marking the third consecutive month of positive growth in trading volume. That's a lot of volume. $100 billion traded on decentralized exchanges in just 1 month. All right, next key takeaway. The number of active developers in the crypto industry has held steady. So despite the bear market and the NFT winter and this crypto winter, builders drawn in by the 2022 bull run are sticking around. Almost 30,000 developers contributed to or built on crypto projects last month, steadily increasing over 60% in the last 3 years. So yeah, even though again, it's like we talk about how bear markets are for builders. It's like, yeah, it's because they understand the tech. They understand that this is cyclical. So they are continuing to build.
Yeah, I love this chart right here. The take rates of these different, and Squashman's talking about some utility and value prop that will push mass adoption. These are great. Facebook, 100% take rate. Instagram, 100% take rate. Twitter, 100% take rate. YouTube, 45. Spotify, 30. Steam, 30. All of these have no incentive or very low incentive for people to adopt it, more so than the take rates that you see on the platforms that are here. Right? Like you see the ability to have competitors for all of these that would have substantially less take rate. So you could be on Instagram and actually be earning something rather than Instagram saying, hey, you're here and we're offering you this. You get to rent out this platform and we don't give you anything. So I love that this points out that there's 100% take rate at most of the large platforms, Twitter being one of them. And Elon's talking about, hey, how do we pay or how do we work with content creators to get them in an environment where they're able to support their lifestyle. If doing that, just being on Twitter, which is something that people don't get, gamers don't get it. The Squashman talking about culture being the Trojan horse. Gamers don't understand the value prop because they don't really make the equation that there's been 100% take rate forever. I don't get shit out of the League of Legends skins that I'm buying.
Yeah.
Like
unless you're an influencer and you found out a way to create your own like third party business, built off of those things, you could argue that that's something. But or sometimes you actually get paid. Again, like I was working in gaming influencer marketing for Ubisoft and like EA. Like sometimes that you can pay influencers, but besides those top few creators who have established themselves, there's no money going back to anybody participating or building that ecosystem. And so, yeah, when you're saying take rate, by the way, we're talking about all the revenue being generated off these platforms, right? So 100% take rate means that platform is taking 100% of all revenue coming out of that. But all right, let's keep going to the next one. Blockchains are scaling through promising new paths. A proliferation of protocols and projects are working to scale blockchains, facilitating more transactions using a number of different approaches and technologies. Last year, layer 2, this is actually one of my favorite stats because it talks about the scaling and the layer 2s and how they're growing. Last year, layer 2 scaling solutions accounted for 1.5% of the total fees paid on Ethereum. Today, it's 7%. So that's about a 5x in 1 year. And actually, Nifty Q, Carrie Ross and I were making big, bold predictions about what we think it will be 1 year from now. So Nifty Q, if last year layer 2s only accounted for 1.5% of total fees paid on Ethereum and today it's 7%, what do you think it's going to be 1 year from now?
No idea. Double,
so 14%.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I said around 22%. Close to, yeah, like just under a quarter. I think Kerry Ross at around 18%. So there you go. We got 14% locked in for Q 1 year from now for L2 participation. But yeah, I think that that's cool. And I expect obviously it to be much higher next year as L2s take on more. I mean, again, we see, you know, all the big moves Polygon's doing and the more of the adoption and network activity coming online there. That is just on Ethereum though. So, I mean, that's important to note. All right. And let's keep it going. 3 more of these key takeaways here. New technologies, once practically impossible, are becoming very real. And again, this actually to link this back to, you know, what we were talking about, and that's that so much of the space, the interest, the collections, the metas, as we like to call them, the new movements in the space, the metas of the space, and like what's interesting is tech driven. You know, the fact that new technologies that were once impossible are becoming very real, and we're starting to see these new technologies maybe come into retail availability is very exciting. So we're seeing decades in the making work, like zero knowledge systems, advance at a staggering pace, which will unlock further blockchain scalability and a new category of privacy protecting applications, not to mention applications in AI.
So real quick, while we're talking about layer 2s and zero knowledge, so a bunch of different platforms are tackling zero knowledge. I think the ZK EVM one was the one we touched on Polygon. So the question in chat was from Flubber, which L2s are y'all using? I've been messing around with Polygon and Starknet. Right, what I have on the screen is basically the site that we use to track at least NFT volume within these layer 2s, right? So or even layer 1. So Polygon is here coming in third here on total volume over the last 24 hours. We could potentially move this, I believe, to a 30-day timeline and see if that changes. So it's Ethereum, Solana being another layer 1, which is coming clean in second place, and then about half of that is Polygon, Immutable X, Binance, which I believe it's its own layer 1. If I'm mistaken, please let us know. Arbitrum, the other layer 2 there, Cardano, another layer 1. So just giving you a look, and then of course, you know, Flow, Wax. Wow, that's a good one.
Is Immutable layer 2 or is Immutable X its own?
Yeah, Immutable X is a layer 2, 100%.
And they're right behind Polygon. So that's why it's cool to see that they're even combining forces or collaborating to create better experiences for gaming, for Web3 gaming.
Hey, while we're here, what the fuck's up with Nakamigos? Any TLDR on Nakamigos?
Well, I heard that they did an event at NFT NYC called like a Spank Fest or something. They did some weird event. Yeah, it was like something weird like that. Like I think it was called Spank Fest. And the floor has dropped. It was sitting around 0.4. I don't know. Let's go look at it. But all right, let me hit these last two though. Last two takeaways while we move back into NFTs. So the data does show a positive trend in ZK related search, developer activity, and usage. So zero knowledge is something that we all should be paying attention to, and something that we'll keep talking about because it's going to create a lot of new interesting use cases. All right, next point: the U.S. is losing its lead in Web3. This is something we talk about a lot. Q, yeah, this is something. So this was a really interesting point. Apparently, between 2018 and 2022, the proportion of crypto developers based in the U.S. versus the rest of the world fell 26%. Thoughtful regulation can encourage crypto builders to innovate and grow these technologies safely in the U.S., but we are fucking that up. We are fucking it up here in the U.S. It's ours to lose, but 26% reduction in our dominance over the last 3 years. So that means a lot of people leaving the US to go to greener pastures to develop. All right, last point here. Zooming out shows progress across key indicators. You know, it's always good when you zoom out and you look at the charts of ETH and Bitcoin all time, you know, but that's kind of what they're saying here, right? It's like market cap, developer activity, and funding activity have all increased steadily over the last decade. Stepping back from short-term volatility reveals a more predictable pattern that they've dubbed the price innovation cycle, where price swings propel new ideas forward, and basically that creates new innovation and then thus drives the price over time.
Yeah, I mean, look at that run up front. This is an awesome chart, by the way. This is really, really cool visualization. I know what happened in 08, right? We all know what happened in 08. Here's Bitcoin right here, standing right here. It's been a steady stairs up. Which one is which one is the COVID drop here? Is the COVID drop here or is the COVID drop here? I love looking at these charts. Like, is the COVID drop?
Wasn't that 2020?
Here?
I think it's 2020. So that, yeah.
What was that spike? Because I remember this is March. This is March 2020.
Yeah.
Black Thursday, I believe. But what happened here? Interesting. But yeah, we saw a significant pump right after COVID. And now we're in that. Yeah. And now we're kind of in that realm of what's going on here with the S&P overall. Obviously, it affects this really cool chart. This is dope.
Yeah, there's a lot in that. And you know what? I'm actually excited to dig further into it because we started actually going through page by page. And I think we got 15 pages through on our last show, GM Web3. And I kind of want to just keep going. It's 60 pages, something like that, 60 pages. So there's more to dig into, but I think there's a lot of great findings there that, again, overall, it shows you how bullish the macro in terms of crypto is, right? The fundamentals of the crypto market are very strong right now, despite the current volatility and being in the middle of a winter.
Yeah, in the middle of a winter, and we'll end our support group here in like the next minute. But I do want to get y'all's take. If you're here and you got a take on how you're feeling about the NFT market or the crypto market, I think it helps to get other people's theses. I'll read Squash's here. He's saying, agree about culture being the Trojan horse. Gaming is just one facet. Music, sports, fashion, any industry with a substantial culture can bring lots of people in, but value prop needs to click. And that's where I think, where Gucci is tweeting out from their profile about the codependence. Those are huge moments wrapped up in like little small micro moments that it will pass, but then you're like, oh my God, that is a digital asset that one of the largest brands in the world in fashion is tweeting about from their main account. These little things need to kind of work together to make this piece kind of become whole. So I'm super interested in like the people's takes at this moment in time, because we are seeing Bored Ape hovering around 50 ETH floor, CryptoPunks getting wrecked, Squiggles getting wrecked, like all of the traditional NFTs that we know have value and we know have some type of value prop are getting wrecked. Well, traditional for us, right? Like that. True.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, like, it's funny to me because we haven't, like, again, the larger NFT space has not existed long enough to have traditions really at this point. I think what's interesting about what we're doing is we're creating those traditions in real time, and by going through these hard periods together, I think a lot of that solidifies. So, a lot of the traditions are, I think, being made now, and in the next couple of years, you maybe look back and you really feel that more.
Yeah.
But
it's a cliche that we use. Like, you even use it today. You're like, you're gone for a week. It feels like 20 years. It's a cliche because it's fucking true though. Like, if you're in
just
this every day, the pace compared on the sideline, or comparatively to maybe everything but AI at this point is just wild. You know what I mean? Just wild. So, all right, we'll kind of pop out of this. I would love to get anybody's takes here before we end it, but this is wrapping up here. Again, my thesis that I was talking about is that no matter what these prices are saying, and some of them probably got out of control in the bull market, don't get me wrong, that's how cycles work. Some stuff is overvalued and then it comes back to earth. What you see here with, especially in this CSGO skin, I'll kind of pull it up and admire it for a second. It's now, worth $400,000. What you see here is that even in traditional gaming and, traditional tech, or just, the non-NFT degenerate world that we live in today, there is interest in digital assets. That's not going to change. And so this was a really cool story about this CSGO player buying the skin. This sale also included a Karambit case hardened blue gem knife. So it looks like the entire sale went up to $500K. The hilarious thing about this, as we know, and NFT gamers and Web3 gamers know, this person doesn't own this shit. If Steam went away tomorrow, you know what I mean? Or that maybe this person got caught up in some scandal that Steam says, hey, we can't, have this item or this account. Maybe we ban the account. What happens? Player loses. The investor loses. So.
Yeah, $500,000, no recourse. It's like people talk about the Wild West of Web3 being dangerous because there's very little recourse, but you actually have more sovereignty and more control than this situation, where you have zero at the end of the day. But it is really cool to see this as an example, because to your point, this is why you and people like myself just see the natural adoption of NFTs almost being like inevitable in gaming, because they're already so accustomed to valuing digital assets. It's just like, for some reason, like the adoption and the leap of it, we haven't figured out that part of it yet, but it just makes too much sense. Why would you not prefer to actually own these assets that you're valuing and prizing,
Steam owns that asset just as much as the bank owns the dollars in your account. It's as simple. I'm not going to stand up here on a pulpit and preach to the choir, but for those of you that aren't making that adjustment in your mind, this person does not own this asset. It's custodied with Steam in the Steam account. There is no third-party application, or there's no application here that allows for this user to custody assets outside of the platform. So, we're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole of ownership in Web3, but it just affirmed my belief with what we're doing here. Squash is saying, I think all Web2 brands onboarding legacy consumers is a blessing during the bear. Agreed. Squash, you're coming through with some facts today. Web3 projects just need to hold on. Reddit, Starbucks, Amazon, Adidas, Rolling Loud, Gucci, etc. Need to continue onboarding people. So it's this. All right, I'm staring down a rabbit hole that I do not want to go down. I don't want to bring you guys down that rabbit hole with me today, but we are on NFT Live here. We're going to touch on a lot of different topics today. We haven't even got to Franklin, just absolutely flooring his apes. Crypto Stamina in the liquidation event. Apparently, Franklin owned my bubblegum ape. So the bubblegum ape was on the floor for a second. I'm going to get you back one day. But we are going to touch on that and more here in just a second. You are on NFT Live. We do this 1 p.m. Eastern Standard daily. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we are, off and running. We're about an hour into the episode almost. Gift, did we miss anything in quick hits? I've got a couple more things that I want to hit Pixelmon, man.
Dude, I mean, you missed Pixelmon. You missed telling everybody to smash the like button if you haven't already, fam. It feels good when you do, and it really, really helps us get this show out to more people that need the Web3 gospel in their lives. So, yeah, Pixelmon, we can hit on that real quick. It's maybe one of the best, comebacks potentially. They were pumping. Firefest 2. I don't know. Do we want to hit that again? It's not really Web3.
Hey, dude, we're doing tech and culture. Culture is what drives a lot of this stuff. I will say, Prodigy is up here saying, same, hard to tell, honestly, with how volatile it is in this space. This is why I hate, and I give so much hate to Axie Infinity, because they simultaneously profited so much, but also threw the dagger in the heart, because everyone pointed to Axie Infinity about how this space is a scam because of how volatile it was. But yeah. Anyways. Actually, let's trigger GiftEd first. One quick piece of news: Trump earned up to 1 million in NFT collection sales. So one of the biggest projects on when it comes to NFTs on Polygon is unfortunately the Trump trading cards.
Yeah,
earning up to 1 mil.
Not a fan of people giving more money to Trump, but also if he's helping with adoption of Polygon. Trying to look on the bright side here, and also good for anybody who made a bag off of flipping these pieces of trash. There you go.
Okay, on to the next. Here's the Nakamigos floor. You guys were asking for the Nakamigos chart. We're on our handy dandy NFT Go platform here on the historical price charts. It looks like over the last 30 days, we saw that huge run up, right? From March 22nd. We peaked. Well, what are we peaking at here? 0.82 average price here on April 10th about, and we are sitting at 0.42 average price, 0.43. So GiftEd, are you buying a Nakamigos at this price?
I would like to have a Nakamigo. Will I be buying at this price? Probably not. I'm watching it. You know what I mean? It's getting close to that point where I want to start putting in some WETH bids maybe. If I could get a Nakamigo around 0.3 or around I think the target price that I had was around 0.25. You know what I mean? If I could get in around 0.25, I think I'd be pretty stoked to have one.
Could too. Yeah, I think that's a solid price range. I think that 0.15 to 0.25 for me would be ideal. The art still is just man. Man. This is just so bad.
Is it?
It is. Why are you
Is it worse than CryptoPunks? I mean,
wow.
There's 20K of them. Oh, did I offend the art of CryptoPunks?
Gifted. CryptoPunks is probably the most nostalgic, most historically just
but even
NFT,
most
and you just
even most CryptoPunks will immediately argue that it's not great art. That's not the point. The point is the provenance. They're really low res pixelated PFPs, and they have a lot of value because of the provenance and the innovation and everything that they represent in the space. But do you really think CryptoPunks are amazing artwork?
Looks amazing to me.
Okay, all right. Teach their own. Look, I actually, as far as pixel art goes, as far as pixel art goes, I like the CryptoPunks. I want to have a CryptoPunk. I'm just saying, I don't look at it that's the coolest fucking art in the world. Nakamigos is to me probably has cooler art than CryptoPunks maybe, but it's just because it's a few more pixels and some pixel art with some more traits. But they're both not great as far as art. I don't know. Pixel art is not my get down. The one.
Hold on, GIF. Biggie. CryptoPunks or Nakamigos art? Answer right now.
Listen to me. The only reason I'm here right now is because I couldn't sleep, man. I could not sleep. I don't know what was going on. I couldn't sleep, and I just had to check in on my homies. And I see GIF sitting behind this Victorian fucking thing, talking about maybe buying some fucking Nakamigos. And I said, no, sir. No, sir. I have to join in this thing. And so I'm here now to stay your hand, GIF.
I triggered you so much.
This thing called bored hand syndrome. You just want to click. You just want to fucking click. But this is not the time, my friend.
Is this what you learned during all of the open editions in January and February? Is this your...
Seriously, man. I'm telling you, you got to learn from your homies' mistakes. Stay your hand. Do not go into the Napkamigos world. I'm sorry.
Right, but if it gets down to 0.25, I mean, then you think it's good, or nah? You still wouldn't be buying.
No, sir. By the way, speaking about owning culture, check this out.
I was just about to ask you, what do you got?
Coffee beer. I don't know if you can see that. Look at the label on that. It's Pablo Escobar. Indonesian coffee beer with Pablo Escobar on the label. How fucking nuts is that?
I didn't realize there was a connection there from Indonesia to Colombia.
I don't think there is either, guys. Hey, by the way, hello to the chat. Ronan, Flubber, Squashman, Hash Rhymes. Love seeing you guys here, man.
I love the way that you said Squashman.
Because I did catch a little bit of what you were talking about. And I mean, I still think that, what you guys are talking is on point. I think right now we are going through a fucking crypto winter, of course, and NFTs probably their first winter, right? And I see it as I don't know if you guys have ever grappled before, but once somebody has you in a rear naked choke, the only way to get out is by relaxing, stopping, your blood flow, relaxing your blood flow, trying to take off the pressure. And I think I've been lucky in the sense that I've been keeping my eye off the charts and my portfolio. And yes, I am rocking my fucking Moonbird hat. But I think at the same time, you know, whatever survives this is gonna make it. Of course, it's gonna make it, right? And I think in this world right now where we're seeing AI really question like a lot of our creations and what is real. I don't know if you guys saw like first it was the Jay-Z rhymes and everything, and now I think they did like a Drake and
I saw
Weekend
the Drake
fucking
Weekend.
rap compilation. Incredible, right? And so I think this is a great moment for crypto to shine, right? Because it is verifiable on the blockchain. And if any of these artists ever want to publish something that is they want to claim to be legit, made by their own hand, this is a great way to verify in the future stuff that is not created by AI or not. And that's just additional 2 cents I want to put in. But I still believe in the tech, like you, Q, like you, Gift Def, and I unfortunately think that, like you said, this is the first NFT winter, and you're seeing people tap out, right? The pressure is a lot. Some people got in over their heads, like Franklin, maybe made some bad investments or whatever, and you're seeing, you know, a lot of blue chips in art blocks go for pennies in the dollars. And right now, liquidity is king, and people are strapped. Some people just want to out, you know, and they're taking that liquidity. But I'm just here to tell you, just hold on, like my 2 homies up here are saying. And, you know, I'm not saying that anything you hold and everything you hold is going to survive, but what does survive, man, it's going to make it. All right. And that's all I had to say. And stay your hand, Gift that, stay your hand from those Nakamigos, my friend. Can't believe I was hearing that. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I'm
not jumping on it yet. I do want to own one because I think that it's done well enough to establish itself that it'll probably be interesting. But yeah, I'm not going to buy one right now. But I loved, first of all, it's great to see you, Biggie. But I loved what you're pointing out and bringing into this, because I've been talking a lot about zero knowledge proof and the importance of that for applications around things like digital ID in voting and you know, all the things that we need to protect against how fast AI is moving and can spin up fake identities and fake content. But within the creative world, that's tremendously important because as we know, you know, the fine art world is actually rife with fraud. Like there's so many fake Picassos and fake Monets and people buying and selling art that they think are legitimate, you know, famous historical pieces of art with no proof other than, you know, somebody tells them that it's a legit signature on it or whatever. The blockchain can solve this problem. That's what the blockchain can do. And so now you've got, you know, all these AI hip hop, you know, creations popping up, and art, you know, fake art, people probably presenting AI art as paintings or different things. It's only going to get worse from here because the AI tech just gets better and better. So your ability to fake or spin up frauds at scale, create new identities of fake people, or create new art or new music at scale that sounds amazing, looks amazing, but is not what you present it to be. Yeah. That is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And so using NFTs and the blockchain to verify the source and the provenance of that becomes exponentially more important.
Gif, have you heard this song, by the way, that Biggie's mentioning, the Drake?
It's fucking
Weekend?
Fire. It's really good.
Fire.
I haven't heard this one. I've seen a few different things. I don't think I've heard this one. Should we play it real quick?
Yeah, we'll play it. So the quick backstory, and Biggie, jump on if you want as well on the backstory. But the context is a guy wrote it, but he didn't input any audio pieces here. So tell me a little bit more about this, Biggie, because I know that a guy took
from what I understand,
the lyrics.
Actually, Q, and again, for those that don't know, I've been trying to keep a very surface level check on these things, so I could be wrong, and I'm allowed to be. But from what I understand, it was all a big part of it was the prompt engineering too, right, Gif? I don't know exactly what part, whether it was you know, the beats and the singing or the lyrics themselves. I know the Jay-Z one is attributed a lot to like the prompt engineering, and like I think the person that wrote the prompt for the Jay-Z one was like obviously some huge Jay-Z fan. And again, like the creator and the future creators of this stuff, I don't know. It's one of these things that brings up these questions, right? Is it art? Is it original? Is it not? Right? I mean, and one of the greatest pushbacks that I heard was like, yeah, well, everybody used to shit on auto tunes, right, back in the day, calling it not real, right? You're kind of like just distorting your voice and making it sound nice, but you're not really a singer, right? Well, now you're not really a rapper. You know, like it's, I don't know, it's mind blowing.
It's just how you use the tools, right? It's like at first people were hating on it, but because it was a new technological solution to achieve certain outputs and ends. But it's like as people learned to use it different ways, it became like, okay, who's using it the best, right? Who's using it in interesting ways?
All right, I'm going to play the song. I'm going to probably skip forward to the weekends part. I don't know if we're going to sit here for all 2 minutes, but let me play the song real quick.
I came in with my ex like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever ain't left. She know what she need, or she blessed, giving my best. Metro made the beat, so you know that it's gon' slap, yeah, it's gon' slap, time, run it back. Talking to a diva, yeah, she on my nerves. She think that I need her, kick her to the curb. All I know,
you know, you're
is she
gonna
couldn't have the world, had the world, yeah, you were my girls,
and nobody's getting paid any royalties.
on my track, like Selena, baby, on my cheetah, baby.
Selena's getting hard shot. All right, so what do you think, Gif?
I mean, it slaps pretty hard. I could definitely jam that at the gym. That's kind of like my litmus test for a banger is like, can I see myself like at the gym, like hitting the weights while I'm just like, fuck yeah, you know, get that energy. Yeah, that slaps. It's the thing is like I wasn't even really listening to the lyrics too much. Like I caught some of it. The lyrics are fine, but it's more just like the melody and the delivery is fucking great. Like the way it progresses, it's solid composition. And again, the guy didn't really compose it, right? He just fucking threw some lyrics into an AI. This is what's getting crazy is that you're now getting to a point where you can do like just text or voice straight into like AI video. And this is again why zero knowledge proof and we need scalable, fast solutions for digital identity, because we're going to be absolutely like subsumed, like overrun, especially in the next election cycle, by deep fakes, videos, fake people, like trying to vote. Like it's going to be absolutely insane if we don't come up with solutions to verify digital identity, artists, creators, like all this shit. And so I love that Biggie brought this in as like another example of why this tech matters, why we need it.
The copyright on this is owned by the guy who put this together, the prompt creator. This is the whole thing. Like you get down a rabbit hole real quick.
Prompt engineers are going to be future artists. That's just the facts, right? That's what's going to happen, you know? And there's really nothing that you can't do, right? I feel like, again, you know, we all always talk about, is this the bottom? You know, can it get worse? The answer is yes, I think. But I also think like this particular moment in crypto history is, again, I keep saying what survives this is going to soar and going to be here for a very, very long time. And it's because right now I feel we're in a, like you were talking about, Q, we're in a very different point in the adoption curve, right? Wallets, commits, the building on top of many of these layers. And at this point in time, we're also getting attacked with everything that comes to bear from all sides, from the government, from the central banks all over the world, trying to get us, you know, on the one hand, they're calling us scammers and that this tech isn't worth it. And on the other hand, they're trying to pass bills for centralized digital currencies. They're literally trying to hijack the tech
or making money
purposes.
Or making money, you know, selling Bitcoin.
So, you know, to me right now, like all you guys that are in this chat right now and my homies up here, like, yeah, these are your ride or dies. These are the people that are going to be here in the next cycle and the next one and the next one. And yeah, like Gif was saying back in his Martin Luther King days, you know, like we are the cockroaches of this of these ecosystem, and we will survive. If you can get through this, man, I don't know. I think we can get through anything. I mean, they're just not going to have any more firepower.
Bro,
And I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle.
So Gifted brought up a report, I think by A16Z, and in one of the 10 bullet points or 8 bullet points was that the U.S. is losing its lead. That's the one thing I will be following closely as somebody who's in Web3 that's not necessarily tied to, to where I'm living exactly, like even if you see the bull come back and we all believe in this like you do, Biggie, what happens if they get super fucking crazy in this country about regulating this stuff? That's my one question.
More crazy, Q? I mean, it's absolutely nuts. But I think I think their purpose is very much that, to scare as many people away and try to hijack as much of this tech as possible. And why? Because they don't want to lose, the dollar standard around the world. And unfortunately, that is something that I have to say I'm in favor for. Nobody wants to have a weaponized currency pointed at their head. And unfortunately, the United States has done that to so many countries with sanctions and so many other things throughout history for so long, and abused that privilege for so long, that now countries are fighting back. And you're seeing these treaties with Saudi Arabia and China and Brazil trying to step away and form alternate routes because they do not want to be hijacked by the bully, which is the empire right now, which is the United States. And so in that regard, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Of course, I don't want the renminbi, Chinese renminbi, to be the ruling currency of the world, but I don't know if I want the dollar to have that power, especially when you see our government behave in that way, right? Like being a bully with everybody else and trying to use this and inflate the currency. So it's like, I don't know what to tell you. I still think that somebody will eventually, and I know everybody wants to will crack the code for, uncollateralized digital rebase stable coins. And when they do, I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing that I'm rooting for. And I know it won't be easy, and there might be other failures further along. But what I don't want is any country to be the next owner of the next 100, 200 years of fiat dominance in the world. I don't care if it's a digital centralized digital currency. I don't care if it's a dollar or renminbi or petrodollars, whatever you want to call them. I want freedom, and that's why I'm here in crypto. So. Peace.
That's like one of the biggest arguments you could ever tell people like all over the world for why Bitcoin, or ETH or some of these truly more decentralized currencies are a better option from what we have. I think that's a really good point. I wanted to get back to the AI part of it and try and steer away from geopolitics because I'm not an expert in that. Even though I think you're making some good points, of course. But I have a quick anecdote. So. Where I'm at here in Toronto, across the street is a very, very cool neighbor, a nice old man named Barry. He's super cool. And I was hanging out at a family party that he was invited to last night for dinner. And, I don't know how old he is. I want to say he's in his 70s, maybe. He's up there. And he started showing me all of the AI art that he's making. So wow. It's that was like a cool anecdote. I did not expect Barry from across the street to be talking to me about digital art and then showing me how he's using AI to create all these cool, and he prints them out on the canvases and he hangs his AI art in his home now. He's getting into it. And so to me, that was actually saying, how close we can be to mainstream adoption of some of these technologies, right? If AI art and digital art and these applications to create your own and apply it in different ways is already being used by people's grandfathers, it means holy shit, these things are moving quickly, and there's actually a lot of awareness for certain kinds of these technologies that we're talking about every day already. And then I wanted to mention quickly on the whole Drake weekend thing. I think that there's going to be some really, really fascinating legal battles and precedents set over the next couple of years around AI because, you can't stop people from doing this, obviously, but you have to have some kinds of protections or safeguards, not just for consumers, but for creators, to be able to monetize themselves, their style, their whatever it is, right?
Their
like
voice, copyright voice.
Yeah, well, so in music,
now,
there's already been some very famous cases where, you know, people have basically alleged that somebody was ripping off a certain style or a cadence or like a similar sound to another song or another artist, where it's actually held up in court. So it's like if you take a beat from a certain song that was a very popular, successful song, and then recreate that beat and sell that song without crediting them properly, they can go to court and actually litigate and make the argument that this is so similar that it clearly was inspired by this song and they didn't credit it, et cetera. And some of those cases have successfully held up. And so that's what I see happening here, is that these artists like a Drake, like a Kanye or a Weeknd, who have these iconic voices, that millions of people can now just go and like recreate their own versions of their voice. They're going to have to be able to protect their sound, their style, their timbre, whatever it is. I don't know how they're going to qualify that, but you know, effectively, they're going to need to be able to copyright their voice or their style. Otherwise, there's going to be total chaos. There's not going to be a creative market. There's not going to be any copyright. Everybody's just going to fake everything, and the entire market will be flooded with fakes, with frauds, right? So it's going to be fast.
Scary though, right? Because like, you know, I'm not an expert in digital voice signatures, but I don't think really anybody is until now. There hasn't been a need, right, to track this stuff. But I mean, for shits and giggles, imagine if you do have the exact same voice as Drake, right? Like, what, you're gonna get sued now, you know, because somebody copyright their voice. It's fucking nutty. And real quick, I have to say, GIF, I'm so happy that you are in Toronto and not back living in your grandma's basement or something like that. I was a little bit scared. Is that picture behind you, man? That Dorian Gray picture behind you. I was really worried when I tuned in. I was like, man, did GIF move back like with grandma? I seen him like stuck in a bracelet.
I'm this close. Yeah. That close, fam. Yeah. No, that is my great grandmother. R.I.P. Beautiful lady. No, it's not. I'm just at my friend's house in Toronto visiting up here. But I'm that close. No, the other interesting part of it is that like the tools then to apply whatever like regulations or DMCAs that would need to come to protect this, like you're literally going to have to rely upon AI to identify AI and then like uphold this. And so the thought experiment of understanding that art, photos, music now, all of these creations that are being AI created are so good that they can fool humans, that you're going to have to rely on AI to identify what is AI. And then understanding we're very quickly going to get into a place where we have to trust that AI is telling us the truth about what's AI and what's not. Like, understand how fucked we are. Like, humans are literally going to have to rely on AI to tell us what's real and what's not.
It's a tough convo, and I think we do want to kind of move it along to the bag check into some other conversations, but I do think that there's an ability here to have the artist's own reputation or channel be that piece, right? Like you go to that page or whatever it ends up being to get the official, you know, music or whatever that is, and therefore the reputation that we've been talking about with like identity and stuff like this with reputation in the Web3 space, but with this, it's reputation. Yeah. It's
your digital signature, right? Yeah. On a piece of work. Literally, you sign it with your wallet. And not only that, but you've seen it with artists already, right? I mean, Beeple records his whole process of when he's building a piece of art. And a lot of artists are starting to do this for that very reason, right? Because they have verifiable proof that they created it. It's not AI, right? It's mind blowing.
So,
Squashman, real quick, I need to answer Squashman's take because he's asking me about like a rear naked choke by his wife. He appears to enjoy it and not want to get out at. The only alpha there, my man, is that you want to get triangle choked, not rear naked choked by your wife.
It's fair.
That's the best way to go out.
It's fair. No, all the alfalfa here on today's episode. Squashman's also saying it'll be a great tool for musicians. Can prompt their verses, choruses to be in different keys, melody, structure, flow. Should be very interesting once adopted. That is another piece that I don't think we have time for, but there's going to be improvements to the artist workflow from AI as well. We're talking about the negative side of it, obviously people taking their voices and things like this, but it'll help artists as well if used correctly. Ronan saying we need ways to authenticate digital creations. Sounds like NFTs, honestly. Asmodai saying, I think audio style copyright is a stretch and artists have official sales channels in the voice. Ronan saying, which vocal artist will be the first to file a patent on the combination?
Kanye. Fucking Kanye.
I think it's Kanye.
I believe it.
But I mean, if you think that big artists and record labels are just gonna like be cool with people selling their own knockoffs of their artists, like I think you're crazy. Sorry, I don't think just having authenticated channels is good. Is good enough, or is gonna be enough for those people. It's just not, because you have to protect your brand. Like you have to understand, like when somebody's out there selling a fake Kanye or a Drake, like that's diluting / hurting their brand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they can't just sit by and say anybody can create a Kanye song.
It reminds me of that scene from American Gangster where he's selling Blue Magic. He's selling down the cut down version of Blue Magic. It's like, you can't call it Blue Magic. You're cutting it down. This is my product.
Yeah.
So I got it. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. But I think, yes, it will include verified, authenticated channels and provenance, and again, some way to verify digital creations. As soon as we figure that out, let us know.
Kind of be wild.
They'll have something like that. The like true channels. I think all these artists will have their own marketplaces. There will be that, but I think also there will be a lot of litigation and tools like AI used to find, to identify, and take down a bunch of different fakes, people that are creating.
All right,
fraudulent.
Left Action House is saying Drake is a dork, which is a great segue into. I think we're just gonna hit the bag check and then we're gonna touch.
Yo,
on
watch your
any
mouth.
topics.
I'm in Toronto. He actually, you know what? Fun fact. No. You want to know? Actually, this is not a joke. So Drake's house is actually right by here, and actually, so my friend. This is a weird thing that I'm kind of doxing here. I'm at my friend's house, and her parents' house is like 4 minutes from here, and her parents' house is 2 doors down from Drake's.
Oh.
That's a real thing. Yep. So I'm in the neighborhood. Watch your mouth.
He can hear you from here.
Drake can hear you from here, actually. Yeah.
All right, folks, we are going to get into the NFT Go bag check for today's episode. We're excited to have NFT Go be the sponsor on this month's episodes of NFT Live and GM Web3. You guys are awesome. We use their platform to track analytics across the NFT space. We're going to do that now for you guys. So we're hopping into the NFT market overview here, the bag check, if you will. And we're going to need to take that one off. All right, barometer sitting at 31, so kind of cooling off from the last week, but we're doing okay. Everyone's hugging each other. We're fine. Not if you look at the blue chip index for the whole time.
Yeah.
Let's go back. And
I told you not to do this. This is what I'm not doing, Q.
Oh, God.
You guys are doing it on the daily.
Are we at max pain? Is this max pain, or can we get
apathy? This isn't even pain. This is just apathy. That's what's happening at this point.
You're just starting to feel the pressure right now.
All right, so let's go to 7 days. Feel a little bit better. Over the last 7 days, we're a little bit up in USD over that time. I guarantee we're down against ETH. Yeah, it looks like we're down against ETH here from the blue chip indexes. Obviously, can we see the Bored Apes sell, Franklin sell here over the last 7 days? Is there a No, it doesn't look like it. Are Tales of Franklin getting out over? Is this what it is right here?
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's probably it. Well, that's that's 24 hours. Yeah, something like that. I feel like there wasn't much of an effect. You think that there was, based on what everybody's saying.
Everything's trending down. It's hard to see.
ETH,
the sky is
we're gonna cry. We're gonna cry before this is over. ETH, this is total market cap over the last 7 days, kind of crabbing out. We did see like this massive head and shoulders, this BART, if you will, formation here. I'm not sure what that's about. ETH, same thing. What the hell is this BART? What's going on here? Interesting. The market cap took a huge pump up over April 14th, and then on April 16th took a huge freaking dive. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's it. So I think what we saw there was the Chapella upgrade going live. ETH was probably peaking, doing well, and you got some increased volume and happiness around that. And then that's because that's actually literally part of what triggered Franklin to do what he did. Because he basically was like, "Yo, I need to do it when there's liquidity. There's more liquidity. ETH's over 2K. Shit's pumping right now. I better sell." So that's literally, I think that's it. Chapella upgrade. ETH hits 2K, and then Franklin's like, "This is my moment. Fuck you all."
And led to a nice.
I'm out.
Peace, bitches.
Well, yeah, we'll get to Franklin here in just a second. I don't like the guy, but anyways, we'll touch on the last 7 days on volume. Wrapped CryptoPunks taking up 20% of the market. Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Apes. Azuki has seen a lot of sweeps recently here. Azuki's pumping. Bored Ape, Kennel Club, Pudgy Penguins. I'm a fan of the Pudgies. Beans, Nakamigos, Captains, Outlaws. I don't know. Biggie didn't get any Outlaws, but a lot of people did here.
Yeah.
And then we got 33% other. Over the last 24 hours, it's BAYC, Mutant Apes, Azuki, Pixelmon over the last 24 hours. We could touch a little bit on that, Gift Dead, and then Muppeth we're unfortunately going to have to cover here. Let's go into the marketplaces real quick and then hop out of the NFT Go bag check. I'm interested to see this. We're what, 2 weeks now out of the Genesis drop, correct? So let's see where OpenSea Pro lies. That's not bad. Obviously on the sales over that time period, let's go to 7 days.
Should we switch on the wash trading filter?
We should. Buy X2Y2. Buy Looks Rare. Looks Rare still holding up.
Well, Looks Rare V2 has also dropped, remember?
Yeah.
So we talk about OpenSea Pro, but Looks Rare V2.
I feel like this is almost increased here over the last couple weeks with the OpenSea Pro. But if you add OpenSea Pro to OpenSea, that feels like a really strong differential, although you have the blur aggregator. So maybe more of the same on the marketplace overview here. But Looks Rare does look like is getting some trading volume. So
maybe it's not all wash trading this time. Maybe they relaunched and did it right this time. I don't know. But good for them if so.
Absolutely. And that's going to do it for the NFT Go bag check. We'll check in on Muppeth here.
Bag check.
NFT Go bag check. All right, let's check in on Muppeth. What's going on with fucking Muppeth?
God. Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I briefly saw that thing and I was like, really? That and Outlaws, right? Where like the follow-up acts to Nakamigos.
Outlaws was trash, and I called that before it revealed. I'm not fucking with this one. There's no details about the actual artist or the team, but they try and make it seem like, oh, look how great the art is. But there's only 140 traits in the 10K project. And also again, like this to me is the boredom.
It's like they're purpose built for blur farmers, right?
Yeah.
I feel, and for pumping and dumping. It's crazy.
I agree 1,000%. So Outlaws, I'm not into it, but it had a small pump.
You don't like this Dia de los Muertos kind of like look?
It's dope, man. I do think so. It really felt like just I don't know, like they just hijacked Jeremy Booth's style. I know that their response was that, it's not original and it's been done way before Jeremy Booth, blah, blah, blah. But again, Nakamigos, I include those in this GIF. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're not here to stay, just like they have a lot to prove, in my opinion. I mean, they've only been here, like less than a month. I still feel like they have a lot to prove. I mean, yes, they captured the imagination as apparently these did for a little while. What did they do? Like 2,000 ETH in volume or something? It's insane. But
people got rugged on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because when it revealed, just like I said, there isn't going to be a lot of uniqueness across the collection. So the floor is going to look like garbage because there's only 140 traits in the 10K. So
Down
this to me,
75%.
this is the thing is that this to me, just reading through it and seeing it, I was like, this is low effort. These people are literally just they're not even putting their names on it. They're not saying who the artist is. They did not spend more than, I think, a month at most putting together this project. And just what you're saying, Biggie, is just like capitalizing on the current market, trying to create something that people can pump and dump and speculate on for a little bit and make it seem like it's cooler than it is. But once it revealed, it fucking dumped because it's the quality and the attention to the detail and creating something actually valuable long-term and totally original, unique, and beautiful, and paying attention to the detail. It's just not there. None of that's there. And I called it before it revealed. I'm happy about that call. With Muppeth.
This is like you have a list.
Not see
well, this is like feels almost similar, except that like the art may be more interesting, but I don't know how many traits or anything about this. They haven't really said anything other than they're trying to create the worst community on the internet. So it's literally they look like cursed Muppets, and it's just trying to be ironic, kind of like a Goblin Town vibe, where it's like, hey, let's create something kind of scary and horrifying, and literally lean into being an internet troll. So I can already tell you that the type of people that are gonna like get behind this and be like, "Yo, Muppet is so cool," are like not the type of people that I ever want to hang out with.
I want to back Muppet up on this fact though, because it was brought up in the morning show, and it's like those people exist. They need a community.
They do.
You know what I mean? Like the internet exists and has communities like this
Ugly
that are very
people
like
do exist.
yes,
Yeah,
like
and on that note, there's a good chance that it does well. So by the way, let's be clear. Just because like I'm not looking at this like, oh my God, I need a Muppet, doesn't mean that like there's not a chance for you to make money. But also this is like an absolutely amazing time for us to go ahead and say this. And that is that nothing that we talk about here is financial advice. Let me just read this real quick. This is not financial advice, and the information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. All information is public domain. Please do your own research, or DYOR. That is included in the metadata on every episode, and we say it on every episode multiple times because it's true. We aren't financial advisors, and we're not here to tell you what to do with your bags. We're not responsible. We're just talking about interesting shit on the internet.
All right, folks, we are going to get into the last portion of the episode here. We have about 10 minutes left. I want to bring up something positive, something super positive. Rizzlefest happened, and our friend Easy in Crypto is this Rizzlefest or were they up in New York and NFT NYC? I'm not sure, but Josie Bellini's there and Easy in Crypto's there. I had to shout them out, of course. This is a dope picture.
Really cool.
Amazing.
Josie looks almost like photoshopped in there.
I thought
we need to run an AI check on that picture.
I'm pretty sure that's a Photoshop.
Is she? All right. Well, it's cool to have her in there. Oh yeah, maybe she was. But hey, look, they got together.
I like that you weren't sure, because that's not even like a good AI or anything. That's literally just a quick Photoshop, and you're already not sure. Jesus, we are.
Zoom in on the hand. Zoom in on Josie's hand. It looks manly.
Oh, it looks manly. Oh, okay. All right.
Rude.
All right. Look, the big story that I caught while I was gone for the past week, because if you didn't know, we didn't have any NFT lives last week. I'm sorry for that. We wanted to touch some grass. I'm doing like a mini Biggie Poppins here, but we didn't have episodes the past week. I didn't really check in. I mean, I kept up with it, but I didn't keep up with much of the space. This was the main story. Yeah, hash rounds. I saw it. Josie was photoshopped. Unfort. Franklin sold all of his apes, and along with this, Jimmy sold a shit ton of his apes, a lot of them being grails. So a lot of people that put in bids on OpenSea or on Blur got grail apes, or maybe even OpenSea. I'm not sure. I need to go into this Jimmy story, but he just floored a bunch of his shit, one of which was my bubblegum ape. I will give you back some time. But essentially 2 large influencer characters, or whatever you want to call them, 2 large holders, whales, dropped a lot of BAYC on the market the last week. It tanked the price, although Squashman was saying it only dumped like 10% apparently. So there's a ton of liquidity there and didn't move the price that much. But the psychological effect is probably harder hit than the actual floor price. If it only dropped 10%, you see two big time holders in the BAYC ecosystem get out. This is the tweet. I'll try to find Jimmy's, but this was the tweet from Franklin. GM, due to an unfortunate IRL issue, I've had to sell off a lot of BAYC apes to pay off Bendow loans while the liquidity was available. I won't get involved in NFT trading Twitter for a while, and I will focus on my private life for the time being with my remaining apes. We'll dive deep into this stuff. It looks like he lost 2,000 ETH. This is my problem with Franklin, and it trickles down to the rest of the BAYC community. There's a lot of dope-ass people in BAYC, but there's a lot of MFers that think they're geniuses because they bought apes and people put them on a pedestal. This is what they've done with Franklin. He had the foresight to buy a shit ton of these for whatever reason, but they're calling him a genius, and all the dude has done outside of getting these BAYCs is, in multiple instances, not just this, lost a ton of fucking money. So this is my big thing about putting this guy on a pedestal. I'm not going to shit on him while he's down, but losing 2,000 ETH, that sucks. So sorry for that. But I want your takes on this Franklin event. Guys, let's hear it.
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, I mean, we've been through some previous cycles, Q, right? Maybe just focused on crypto, but how many people, like you said, have been worshipped as gods because they hit one home run, and for a while they seem to have paper profits, and in the end went on a gambling spree or overspent themselves, MC Hammer style. And you know, come the downturn, you get to see who's swimming without swim shorts. I love that analogy from Warren Buffett, you know, but we're going through one of those moments, and you will see people test it. And again, like I said, he who survives. I'm gonna say you make it, because you're still gonna have some other cycles to deal with in the future. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you really get to see the people that are a little more level-headed, you know, that maybe take profits along the way. Very important thing to learn. I'm sure a lot of people are learning that right now, and also just being able to keep a level head right now. You know, I anytime I look at crypto Twitter, it's floor price this, floor price that, you know, and I know it sucks. Believe me, my project isn't doing that great, and I freaking love this project. But what I focus on is, what are they doing? Are they delivering? Is Yuga delivering? Is Proof delivering? You know, what are they doing? If your project is still heads down building, if they got runway, you know, and everything, now's not the time to be tapping out. And hopefully you didn't do what Franklin did and go on a crazy investment spree, just following other people that you thought were smart, you know, investing in whatever the hell it is, and then losing a bunch of fucking money and having to fucking sell like actual valuable assets to cover that, right?
This is a wild conspiracy theory that Jimmy's perpetrating here. That Franklin and
he lost the battle.
We're wash trading back and forth. This is actual wash trading, by the way. This isn't incentivized trading. This isn't yada yada. If they work together to continuously, you know, pass apes back and forth so that they could farm, that is wash trading. And you know, this would probably be illegal in the traditional markets. So, GIF, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I agree with Biggie's take that like there's been a whole lot of people put up on pedestals in the space that really don't deserve the clout or the respect that like they haven't done anything actually interesting or valuable that takes a lot of thought other than maybe getting lucky. And it is one of the more annoying things is that there's a lot of people in the space that have, you know, massive followers. They've accumulated a lot of clout because, you know, maybe they got lucky once or they came into the space at a certain time and knew a guy who knew a guy that could put them into these influencer lists like the NFT 100. You know what I mean? We can talk about the NFT 99 thing if we want. That's a funny similar situation with, you know, people kind of getting found out that they don't have their swim trunks on or whatever. The emperor wears no clothes or whatever that fucking cliche is. But this is an instance where like Franklin is kind of getting found out for being a degenerate gambler and not this genius that maybe a lot of people think he is. Because just imagine like losing that much money. Like I've lost a lot of money in the space doing degenerate dumb shit, but nowhere near 2,000 ETH, man. Like that's fucking crazy amounts to be.
I think it's worth Skiff, and correct me if I'm wrong, Q here, because like I again surface level check-ins on these things. But what I saw was that he claimed to have invested in a project based on other people that he said he respected, right? Like basically following the herd, which so many people in this space do. And what do we always say in this channel? DYOR, do your own due diligence, right? Like do your own research. And unfortunately, to this day, many people do not. And many people just get starry-eyed because they see other big name investors go into a project when you don't know what their runway and their capital and their deployment and their terms of investing in a certain project were. And you don't just get to follow these people into these abysses sometimes, because this is what happens, right? Like not everything's gonna make it. It's the same with our NFT bags, right? When you choose whatever allotment you have from what your crypto you're going to deploy in NFTs, you got to be level-headed on that as well, right? Like and see how you're going to allocate that capital, because you need to come into it from the get-go that not everything's going to make it. Few people have bat 100% average, if any.
I think the one last thing that I wanted to add into this real quick is this is the downside of the market being as small and centralized as it is around a few big whales. Because when somebody like this, basically leaves and takes their liquidity, it has much more of an impact than it should. But especially at this moment, and on Jimmy's sort of conspiracy and what he's saying at the end, where he's kind of like taking a shot at him and being like, thanks for letting everybody else pay for your own mistakes. That is kind of the shittiest thing about this. And what makes me feel the worst about it is that, understanding your responsibility as a market maker or a leader or a whale that's put up on this pedestal, everybody follows, looks to you because you got the biggest bags. And so much of this project in this community does rely on you to act good, right? To kind of like not fuck it over, basically, more or less. And this is like, I'm not trying to sell shame, but I do think in the middle of the NFT winter, when a lot of people are hurting, the floor is already beaten down, for this to be the time that you're just like, fuck it, I'm out, bury it. It does say, I think at the end of the day, that he doesn't particularly have a lot of respect for the community. And again, it's like, look, I'm not trying to sell shame. And if he has if he has Ben Dow, like things come and due, like I get that there's reasons why. But it is unfortunate because the net effect of it, I think, makes me feel like he, as much as he reps the space, as much as a lot of people think that he's been good for the space, this is a horrible time to be exiting in this way, right? And it does have a pretty negative effect.
I'm going to try to find this tweet.
Yes, sir, Quantum. Leverage in volatile assets will kill you 100%.
If this was true,
salutations, my friend.
If this shit was true, this is bad. This is bad. Like for Franklin's reputation in this space, if he ever wants to come back, he like people should understand what this is implicating. They were gaming the Blur airdrop. They were the entire time.
Yeah. Well, so like, let's be clear too. I, at least myself, I think we both have, but I myself have been saying since the get-go that what Blur's done is create really negative incentives. And that's what Andy James called a negative feedback loop. This is what that looks like.
It's not a negative incentive. It's an incentive that is being exploited. That's what it is. It's like that incentive of saying, hey, you trade on our platform and we'll give you a little kickback, basically.
If you create an easily exploitable incentive at the detriment of the larger market that has really negative long-term impacts on everything that we've been building and this culture that we care so much about, how is that not a negative incentive? It's kind of like splitting hairs.
Again, no, because it comes back down to Blur's intention. If Blur had the intention to work with Franklin and Jimmy, then I say, yeah. If not, well,
think
now you're
Blur's-
guessing.
Well, Blur's intention is, I think, to get the VC bag, and they don't give a fuck about the long term.
I don't agree with that theory either. Whenever it's brought up on GM Web3, I'm like, okay, show me when OpenSea is sold. Show me when Blur is selling. In that moment, I'll agree with you. But it's speculation. You're speculating. You're saying
OpenSea is already VC controlled because they've raised like what billions of or $250 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So whether or not like they sold, they definitely did sell their souls, their control. Because once you raise that much money from VCs, right? Yeah. But that's fair. But again, what's driving Blur to make the choices that they are to growth hack through these means?
Yeah.
Do you think it's because they want artists? I think we
disagree on whether or not they had intention to work with Franklin and Machi in this moment. And what you're saying is basically they looked at that and said, we don't give a fuck. And I'm saying, oh shit, we created a system that is being gamed. I don't know which one it is. I like, did they just put it out and be like, we don't care? Or did they know that was going to happen? Because those are two different things. Those are truly two different. If they created,
is it a different thing if they saw that it was happening early on and decided to do nothing about it?
If they saw that this is happening and continue to do nothing about it, I would say it's not as bad as going. Doesn't that say
their intention? But doesn't that kind of say their intention is just to spin up a bunch of volume and take market share regardless of the impact?
If they created the platform with that intention, I think that is very negative. If they saw it happening and then didn't do anything, I don't think it's as crazy of a jump to make to say like if they didn't have the intention when it started. So
I think it's getting a little bit semantic. I get what you're saying, but either way, I thought Nick Swervis had one of the funniest comments here. It was just mistakes were made with a wallet that Franklin owned, which if y'all don't know, that's a reference to Nicole Benham's tweet, not her not apology about getting redacted for rugging and being a shitty.
And we don't even know if this is true, by the way. So we're speculating on this. So we don't know, folks. Go ahead.
100%. But can we agree on one thing, that there's always a positive side to this coin, right? And these down cycles, right? And if we're talking about the communities of these projects and people that maybe we find disagreeable, right? Like the fact that this happens, I mean, also enabled a lot of people that may have been on the sideline wanting to get into the Yuga ecosystem, wanted to buy a Bored Ape, to get a little more distribution, right? Less concentration. And I think also for projects, sometimes it's good that you have these cycles because you really get to see who your holders, the people that have conviction in what you're doing, who those people are, and I mean, it's just part of the game, to me. I try to look at the positive side of it, and I think this is definitely as horrible as it may be in the optics of this, whether the whole Blur conspiracy theory is true or not. I think it's a very big lesson to all investors here about playing with leverage and volatile assets like Quantum is mentioning, but also there's a positive in this, is that you get to flush out people that were just in it for speculative reasons, right? And you get to draw in people that had maybe had been on the sideline and wanted to partake in these communities. I think it's good.
I love the positive take there, Biggie. One thing that I have to throw in here, as much as it doesn't feel good to me sometimes to be pointing out that Azuki is doing really well. Their floor has not been impacted. While CryptoPunks is impacted, Squiggles has been going down, Bored Apes is obviously impacted. Azuki has been holding above 15 ETH and actually even going up a little bit maybe over the last couple of weeks. So I don't know, man.
A little bit of wallet sleuthing, by our proof analyst has revealed exactly why that is, right? And there's nothing good or bad about it. It's just that there's some very high conviction whales that keep supporting this floor, right, and accumulating. And if you're talking about building community, again, you can just see that like a lot of the holders are concentrated in a very few amount of wallets, right? And what I would ask is like, okay, great, their floor is not being impacted, GIF, but what's being done in Azuki? I'm not trying to FUD the project. There's a lot of cool things that are that are there about it. But right, very much like DGods, it's one of these questions that I see coming up on crypto Twitter a lot, and I think it bears highlighting, right? Which is like, okay, these floors are being maintained, right? The community is hyped, whatever, and people keep highlighting these things as if like that's sustainable and it's going to get you through this winter, right? First of all, I don't think we're done with the pain, right? But in the end, what are they delivering? What are they doing? Maybe I'm missing something. I'd love to ask our audience as well. But,
Golden skateboards. They did just announce a partnership with a big sort of IP company in Asia, like a big platform, social media platform. So they're growing their IP. I think they're working on big partnerships. And again, I was not historically a fan because of the creators and being serial ruggers and all that. But you have to at least give them credit at this point for what they've accomplished. And it seems like Azuki has now established itself as one of the more legit blue chip projects, regardless of how it kind of started or whatever else. I
agree. I just think that the credit for the floor is questionable to me. Whether, like again, you said maybe they know something we don't. I'm not part of the community. I don't know what's being developed or done. But what I do know is that floor is being supported by a very few amount of people. And
that is concerning, right? Because similar to what we just saw with Franklin, like whenever you've got a few whales that are controlling a massive amount of supply at a certain point, like it just becomes a financial instrument for speculation and trying to make money, and they'll dump on you. And they can actually have a pretty serious negative impact. Again, we're just speculating.
I got a couple windows that I want to pull up here. It looks like Quantum was asking what the price of Blur was. So it looks like it has seen a little bit of a rise over the last 30 days. It was sitting at about 58 cents. It's now sitting at 76 cents. Not sure what is leading to that rise there. Again, all the speculation around these guys like basically farming with each other is not a good look. I don't even know if that's been caught up by like the general public. It was just a tweet from Jimmy saying that's a rumor. We also got a tweet here from Bored Ape Yacht Club while we were live. So it says, "Hollow, don't blink." That's all the tweet said in typical Yuga fashion. It looks like they're referencing the heavy metal drop as well. So I think this is one that we didn't see. Is this like the number one piece or the hollows? I don't.
There's the like number one key, but I think that's the top ones maybe.
I think this is it. Yeah.
Oh, you think that's it?
It says hollow.
That's how it evolves. That's how. Oh wow. Okay.
Maybe we're wrong. We need to. This obviously just came out while we were live, so we're gonna jump into that. I'm sure there are 20,000 threads already on what this means and broken down everything. But
deep dives.
Yeah, exactly, guys. We are gonna pop out of here. We're at an hour and 45 minutes with y'all, so we're gonna leave you here. We had Adidas that we needed to cover too. Adidas had a what are they calling their drop?
Alts. Yeah, so ALTS.
Let's cover that tomorrow. What's up, Biggie?
Oh, and I was going to say something that you probably should look at also, which I thought was very interesting, was the whole Goblin Town's metadata change of the images.
We hit on that earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I missed it. Okay.
What did you think?
I don't know what to say. I really don't. I just think I'm glad that they did it for this very reason. A lot of people were not aware of this, apparently, even in spite of Jack Butcher being the one that highlighted it with checks. A lot of people seem to have not been aware that, some of these JPEGs are stored off chain. And so I thought that was an important lesson. So just for that reason, I'm like, kudos. Let's see. Obviously, not everybody reacted positively to it. I think they're going to get airdropped like a new token so that they can protect their royalties. Let's see what happens. This is not the first time something like this has happened. Let's just remember that punks did it because of an exploit, but it always creates it's like a fork, right? It's like a bit of a fork with NFTs. So let's see what happens, because I'm sure there's people trading them right now. And once whoever gets the airdrop And whoever doesn't, you're going to hear a whole bunch of people bitching. And again, a whole bunch of thread whores writing about what should and should not be done because they're experts in this 2-year fucking nascent industry. But I thought it was great.
Did you say thread whores?
No, thread whores.
Thread whores. Yeah. It's like people that
got it.
Dedicate themselves to writing these really long, eloquent things like they know what they're talking about.
All right, the last link that I just dropped is not a scam. It is our event that we are dropping and hosting here at Consensus in Austin on April 26th. I almost said February.
This is the second one I'm gonna miss. This is the second event I'm gonna miss. What the fuck?
April 26th, 4 to 8 p.m. Web3 Lounge, highbrow, lowbrow.
Oh.
You need to be there. I just dropped it. If you're going to Consensus, hit us up in the DMs. We will be there. Again, we would love to have everybody there, whether you want to be a part of it from a sponsor or you want to be a partner or you're just going as a community member. We'd love to have you. Super excited for this one. Phil, thank you so much for the work you're doing behind the scenes.
Can I ask you for a favor, my fam? Can somebody print a picture of me or my Moonbird and just have it somewhere in one of those?
We'll give you the Josie.
I feel like I'm present.
The Josie Bellini Photoshop treatment.
Yeah, please. It's okay.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
That's awesome,
I
will make that happen. I'll have a cutout of you, Biggie.
Yeah, if we could have a life-size cutout of Biggie Poppins in his Moonbird's hat that people can take photos with, that would honestly make me happy too.
Biggie, are you are you 6 foot?
I'm 5'11".
5'11". I'm surprised.
It made me 6 foot. It'll be cooler.
There it goes. That's more like what I expected.
My cutout is 6'9".
Got him. All right, that was it for today's episode of Biggie. You're like the tallest Mexican I ever knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, Q?
I mean, I don't know. My dad, 5'8". So, anyways,
there's some truth to that.
I feel like Kane Mayfield would call that a racism.
Well, it's not a racism if you are Mexican. So, I can therefore say that.
From one Mexican to another.
There it is. All right, folks, we are headed out. We will be back tomorrow with another episode of NFT Live with a morning show as well at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard, that GM Web3 morning show. Gift, do we have a special topic tomorrow? Do you know what we're covering?
Might be a Tech Tuesday. I don't know. I need to get Star-Lordy on, so it'll be great. That's just it's always great.
Okay. All I'll say is the intro song needs to be that Drake and Weeknd song because that's going to be our outro. Ronan said it has to be our outro from now on, so it's going to be.
It'll carry us from now until the beginning of GM Web3 tomorrow morning.
All right, folks. See you later. Our Vibe, our tribe. Thank you so much for those who tuned in. Hash Rhymes, Nick Swervis, Quantum Variant, Prodigy, Left Action House, Squash Man, Ronan the Collector. We will see you tomorrow. Folks, thank you so much. Peace.
Love seeing you guys. Take care.
The flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left. She know what she need, all she blessed.